So it was less than, if I got my timeline right, less than 20 years from graduating college to becoming team president of an NBA organization. Pretty impressive. So over that time and even now, who were your mentors and who'd you turn to for advice?
Well, I'd say, so one mentor in particular is Tim Lewicki. So the thing I'll tell you about Tim, and Tim's now founded a company called the Oakview Group, which he's partners with Irving Azoff. And if you don't know who Irving Azoff is, you can Google him, and it's AZOFF2. And he is probably considered the most influential person in the music business. And then he's also partnered with the Dolans, so Madison Square Garden. So they've formed this company. But Tim, I think the great thing about working with Tim at the Timberwolves is Tim was one of these guys who just thought really big, and the sky's the limit, and anything is possible. Nothing can ever not be possible. And I think with Tim too, a lot of times he will come into a room. He would come into this room and tell you the sky is green, and by the time you're done here, you would think the sky is definitely green, just because of his persuasive powers but just his sheer will and just an incredible presence, incredible guy, and really and when you look at AEG is one of the largest sports entertainment companies in the world. When we were in here in Cleveland, and I just signed a contract with the Eagles, and so Tim had asked me, called me up on the phone. I'll never forget. This was like 2 weeks after I signed the agreement with the Eagles to go there, and I'm leaving Cleveland. We're leaving Cleveland to go there, and he goes, "Come on, let's go." So what are you talking about? He goes, "Well, you talked about Philly Anschutz. They had just bought the Kings. They were a tenant in the Forum, okay, at that time. And hey, we're going to build this great company. All the things we've talked about in Minnesota, we're going to really make it happen." And so, anyways, the long story short, they went from a tenant in the Forum to this massive, $10 billion sports entertainment empire in 10 years. And so, Tim is just a force of nature. So he's been someone who I've, over the years has been great as a mentor and also as a counsel as far as that's concerned. And another great mentor as well has been Dan, and a lot of it through his, just having a chance to understand. And Dan has his isms, which if you don't know what the isms are, just Google that, Dan Gilbert isms. But as Dan likes to say, a lot of them are sayings or like we call them isms that we live by organizationally, and it really helps give you the bedrock for a culture. Because we have over 400 full-time team members, 1,700 part-time team members just at the Cavs and Quicken Loans Arena organization, which is Monsters and Gladiators and Charge and all those teams combined. But you can't, if you're at a point where it's me dictating or David Griffin or Dan Gilbert or anybody, you can't do that. Everybody, the impact that we have starting from our seasonals to the receptionist all the way through, if they're not living and breathing our culture and our frontline team members from part-time team members aren't living that, then we're not going to be successful. And how do we create an environment and a platform that enables everybody to succeed at the highest levels possible? So it's unbelievable in terms of how Dan now has 120 plus companies, over 20,000 team members, and that culture permeates throughout. And that's, we can sit here 5 years from now and Dan will probably have over 200 companies, and who knows, 40,000 people, and because he is someone who is incredibly passionate about entrepreneurs as well. And then a great friend and counsel who I talked to as well on a number of fronts is a gentleman named John Thomas. And John is somebody who we work with in Minnesota with the Timberwolves, but he went on to become the president of the Minnesota North Stars and the Dallas Stars and the president of the Houston Rockets and the Sacramento Kings. And now he's working with a gentleman named Ed Desser in a media business. So they did the rights deal for the Lakers, if you remember that one, $100 and some million a year. But anyways, I'm blessed to have had great people amongst many others in my life.
Sure.